Just want to thank you for being here. You can find more conversations just like this one on arrow.net, ARROE.net. It's time to play it forward. These are real people, real stories, the struggle to play it forward. Episode number 541 is with mega producer Dean Devlin from Leverage Redemption on FreeVee TV.
I am doing well. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And we're talking about Leverage Redemption, dude. I mean, this was a binge watch for my wife and I.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What is that like for you to be jumping into this binge watching generation that we've actually developed into? Does it open up the platform, or is it harder to work with?
I think it's a really interesting development in that it allows people to dive inside the world of a show and just stay there for a long period of time. It's funny, I've heard from all these streaming platforms that by far people choose to watch an episode of television than they do to watch a movie. That they don't want to commit to 2 hours of watching a movie, but they'll commit to an hour. And then they'll watch 3 episodes in a row. So they'll end up actually watching more than a movie. But I think that's actually kind of good because it puts the onus on us as filmmakers to create something that's worthy of them staying on the platform that long.
Well, I love the idea that you guys have teamed up with FreeVee to put Leverage Redemption on there because, I mean, this is a total connection for all viewers.
Yeah, and I think, look, I think a lot of people ended up cutting their cable when the price tag got around $100 a month, and they said, look, that's a lot of money for me to pay for television. And so they migrated over to these streaming platforms. But, as time has gone by, more and more streaming platforms have popped up. The prices of streaming has gone up, and I think for the average person, they're like, wait, I'm back to $100 a month again. And so, Amazon, I think, really wisely created FreeVee as a way to give people more content, but to get it for free. And, being able to now produce 2 new shows for them and having all of my old shows on FreeVee, it's been this real gift to be able to present things and to tell people, yeah, you can watch all this and you don't have to pay for it.
You've always been in touch with subject matters that we can all deal with. I mean, on Leverage Redemption, we talked about a husband and wife running a multi-level scam. I mean, do you step into the newspapers and say, okay, I can build a story around this?
I think the very original series of Leverage was around the time that Enron was happening. And I'll never forget, John Rogers, one of our executive producers and writers, he turned to everyone in the room and said, I'd really love to punch these guys in the neck. And I was like, great, let's make a show where every week we find another one of these guys and we punch them in the neck.
But see, that's your creativity, I mean, it's given birth in every episode. I mean, I love that idea where you can take reality and move it forward. You create content.
Yeah, and as long as there are corporate bad guys or horrible, rich and powerful people, we'll never run out of episodes to do.
You have to know inside your creative heart, though, that you've got the right actors in the right place, and that's why there's a connection with so many viewers.
That's 99% of television, I think, is having great characters and actors who can just bring them to life and make them enjoyable. Yes, our stories are cool and the plots are fun, but at the end of the day, it's these characters that we fall in love with, and we want to go on a journey with them every week. And we're blessed to have really one of the most talented casts of people who are not just great in front of the camera, they're lovely behind the scenes. And it just makes the whole thing this joyful experience of storytelling. Are you like a child in a candy store in the way that when a scene comes together perfectly, it's like, oh my God! And I mean, there's that surge of of greatness that goes into your heart. Oh my God, it happens all the time. I direct a lot of these episodes, and very often I'll be watching the monitor directing, and I won't say cut because I'm just watching it like I'm a fan. And my first AD will come over and go, "Do you want to cut now?" "Oh yeah, cut."
Do you have the eye in the way that when you look at these actors, and because we're always looking forward to what's going to be happening with the next generation of producers and writers and things like that. Being behind that camera, do you see the future? I don't know. I never try to get too intellectual about the craft or what's going on. I've always approached it like a fan. Mm-hmm. I make the stuff I want to see, and I hope that other people have the same taste that I have. And, I have an enormous amount of passion over the stuff I make, but it's because I like it personally. And luckily, my passion has been able to be infectious to some degree, and other people have shared that passion. Yeah. The one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that to get to that passion, though, you've had a journey. It didn't just happen overnight. I mean, that's the one thing that that directors and stuff like that we don't understand your process, but yet because of things like this, as conversation, we get to learn more about you.
Well, our failures teach us more than our successes, and I've been blessed with both. But I've tried to take my failures and use them to build tools to tell stories better, to make things more engaging. And, that's the beauty of television. You do a movie that doesn't work, it's there forever as this little eyesore. Yeah. But, you do a pilot and it doesn't quite work. You can make it better in the second episode. You can make it even better in the third episode. And by season 4, you might really know how to tell that story. So television is a great gift for filmmakers.
One of the things that Howard Stern has talked about, first of all, he is a big binge watcher, period, but he always talks about that he wants all of his stories at one time so he can have, 3 or 4 hours. What is your belief as that person behind the cameras? Do we need to wait for that week like we used to do with the old 3 networks?
I think it depends on the story, but, I think, for instance, our fans are incredibly engaged in the show. I mean, they debate every aspect of the show. They want to talk about every storyline. They want to guess where it's going. So by dropping an episode a week, it gives them a whole week where they can talk to each other and engage with the show. For those who want to binge, well, then they wait a little while until enough episodes are on the air, and then they binge them. So I think there's an advantage to both. This season we dropped 3 on the first night just to give a binge quality for people, and then we've been dropping 1 episode a week so that we've had this enormous fan engagement. I mean, if you just search the hashtag Leverage Redemption, it's shocking how much conversation and fan engagement there is, and how incredibly positive they are. But I think that by dropping it once a week, it allows them time to talk about each show.
You're so right about that, because when you bring up Leverage Redemption, you should see the way that people's eyes light up, because it feels like that they've made a connection with somebody that goes, oh my God, you're watching that one too? I mean, you've created water cooler conversation.
Yeah, and people have a kind of an ownership of the show that there's a lot of shows that have gigantic marketing behind it, and everywhere you go you see a billboard and a poster and TV commercial, and it feels a little bit shoved down your throat. But the Leverage fans, they feel like they own the show. They feel like they found the show, and they're the ones telling other people about it. And it's great. I'll never forget. We were scouting a location in season 1 in New Orleans, and there was a young black fella. I think he was 18 years old, and he was showing us this property. And then he goes, what show are you guys doing? And we said, we're revamping the show Leverage. And he stopped dead in his tracks, and he turned and he just quietly said, thank you. and I could see he was a giant fan of the show, and he knew every episode, and he wanted to talk about Aldous Hodge, and he wanted to talk about Beth Reeves. And it's just so great when you get that kind of response, because there is this sense of ownership that the fans have.
Well, through you, we are all being entertained, man, and I can't thank you enough for being on the show today, dude.
Oh, Arrow, thank you for having me.
You bet. You be brilliant today, okay?
You too.